Welcome to Reach the World ASAP. I'm Pastor Scott Griswold and I work for ASAP Ministries. At our small office, we have a number of people who've spent a significant amount of time in Southeast Asia. Our director, Julia O'Carey, grew up with her brother and sister in Thailand, following her parents all over the refugee camps. In fact, her mother, Judy Aiken, is the founder of ASAP Ministries, and she's the one who sent my wife and I to work in the refugee camps 21 years ago. ASAP Ministries actually rose out of the needs of refugees. They flooded into Thailand from the surrounding countries of Cambodia, Laos, Vietnam, and Myanmar. Seventh-day Adventists served in medical clinics. They fixed teeth, taught English, shared the gospel, and many refugees were baptized. From the camps, they went primarily on to America, Canada, France, and Australia. Judy Aiken led the work in welcoming the Seventh-day Adventist refugees. She worked with churches, inspiring them to receive and to befriend them. There are still so many refugees coming to America every day. Almost 60,000 came in the last 12 months. Recently, the largest numbers have been coming from Bhutan, Myanmar, and Iraq. These are countries where it's nearly impossible to go as a missionary to freely share the gospel. People who follow Jesus there, they're often persecuted. Yet here they are, in our neighborhoods, free to learn and decide whatever they choose. In a previous podcast, Reach the World Next Door, you may have seen the statistics and heard the call to get involved in this huge mission field that God has brought right to our doorstep. I hope so. In this podcast, I want you to hear directly from a lady living in Albany, New York, who spends many hours each week volunteering her help among refugees. She helps them go to the grocery store, lets them practice speaking English with her, fills out government documents, and helps them look for a job, and a bunch of other things. You might think that such a person has got to be a retiree with no family and lots of time on her hands. Exactly the opposite. She has a busy house with 5 teenagers. I felt very blessed to catch her by the phone this week and be able to talk with her for a while because her mother said she's pretty tough to get a hold of. You see, Jolene Roosenberg is the daughter of our founder of ASAP Ministries. It looks like there must be something contagious about this refugee ministry, something that spreads along family lines. So I want you to listen now and see if you find her joy jumping to infect you too.
We have been so blessed beyond anything anybody could imagine. And the blessings far outweigh the sacrifice and the time that we have given. And we have sacrificed. We have given time. We've given a lot of resources, but it has come back tenfold. And that wasn't expected going in, but it's just been a natural result of it. So what have we done? We've made a lot of friends from other countries. And in our area, the recent group of people who have been resettled by our local refugee office in our local area are the Karen people group. And they are a tribe from Burma, and they are Asian, and they are just a beautiful people group that we have been so honored and so privileged to have gotten to know. It started out, I walked into the refugee office and said, asked for a family, an immigrant family, the address, the name and address of a family that I could connect with. And I know other people have gone about it connecting with resettled or immigrant populations through other ways, like through exchange student programs and other things. For us, this was appealing because we figured naturally if they're resettled refugees, there would be needs. And this was something that as Americans who speak the language and kind of know the system, we could assist in and help in. And so we were given the name and the address of a family to go meet. And I went alone without my children and without my husband and with a person from the refugee office and met this dear, wonderful family from a refugee camp in Burma or Myanmar. The refugee office that I worked with had a kind of a criteria of what they wanted their volunteers to do. And that criteria was They said, well, we could go in and read their mail, help them with their mail. We could go in and teach them English and go and help them learn how to use the post office, how to use the bank. Well, that's all fine and good, but I felt like that was a little bit cold and distant. And so what really worked for me was just doing the loving thing. And for my family and for me, I brought my daughter. She was 2 years old then, my youngest daughter, and she wasn't in school, and the other kids were in school. And so we just went into the home and sat down and sat with them and befriended them, became their friends. And part of that, I know that in the mental health field, when I worked in the mental health field, there are boundaries, clear-cut boundaries, and you would never invite a client into your home. Well, this was not a client. This is a friendship. And so I was thrilled to be able to invite them over to my home, and so that they could eat with us and we could eat with them. And it was all very natural, and it just all fell into place, and we became friends, very good friends. I was asked to accompany people to doctor's appointments and to go and help with this issue or that issue, and a lot of times it was an issue of language. And so I quickly became knowledgeable about the social welfare system, knowledgeable about how to get somebody a job, and things that I wouldn't ordinarily have done previously, I educated myself quickly on. But it was a joy. It was an absolute joy to do those things. And I can tell you that it didn't take time from the family, because the family was with me, the kids were with me. And I think the kids watching that and seeing that were blessed by it and learned from it as well, and are better people as a result.
Isn't it great to hear what Jolene and her family have been doing? She kept saying how blessed her family has been by their involvement. I want you to hear one specific story of something they did.
There's the gentleman who came from a refugee camp on the Thai-Burma border, and he, healthy man in his 30s, and he had to have open heart surgery. And it just made sense. We went with him to the hospital, and when this became clear, we realized that it just wouldn't make sense for him to go back to his apartment that he was sharing with other single men, and it was on the 3rd floor, and after open heart surgery this would be very difficult. So of course we said, please come stay in our home for a month or two until you recover well enough to be on your own. And he accepted our invitation, which I'm grateful for, because we are a different culture and our food is different and everything. But it was such a blessing to the kids, because each of the kids were given a job, and the little one was in charge of water, getting him water, and my son was in charge of going on walks, and my eldest daughter was in charge of his diet. And so she had to educate herself on heart-healthy food, which she found out is pretty similar to what we already eat. And so she helped cook for him and bring up his tray, and it was kind of a summer project, and we loved it. And consequently, we grew closer to him. And later, when she went on a mission project with her school, he was one of her key supporters and just right behind her, and we became close. There are other examples that aren't so positive, like when a family who we dearly loved, their house burned down, and this has happened to several families. And but to be able to be there and to help them, and just to run as soon as we heard this was happening. Other unfortunate situations, there have been some situations of abuse, and so we've cried together. But there have been far more positives, where we've gone and the kids have all taken friends, and we've taken families to the ocean for the first time. So for the first time in their life, they saw the ocean. First time in their life, they picked apples, or petted a goat, or rode a horse, and all of those things. You get the same thrill as you do when your child takes those first steps. And it's amazing, just amazing. And to know, the same thing can be said for when the door opens and the time is right and it just kind of falls in your lap, and to be asked questions about the Sabbath and to be asked about Jesus. And it just kind of naturally unfolds through the friendship and from the friendship, I guess, and from that loving connection that you've already established. And so I think if there's a key thing that could be said for what our family has been privileged to be involved in, it would be that everything we've done has been a learning experience and a growing experience for the kids and for myself. And it has been the most beautiful blessing in our lives to date. And it has been all about giving. And a side effect has been the blessings that have come back to us.
I get so excited when I hear people like Jolene are reaching out to refugees. Think about it. Jesus chose to be poor in a poor family, knowing in advance that he and his parents would have to flee from Herod as refugees to Egypt. I am just sure he went ahead and chose that life because he wanted refugees to know that he understands their pain. He loves them so much. They have gone through such incredible difficulties. And it was the gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh from the wise men that made it possible for Joseph and Mary to survive those years as refugees in Egypt. It's the gift of love, the gift of helpfulness from people like Jolene that is helping refugees thrive and survive in America and elsewhere. You can do the same kind of thing. I want you to look up online the website reachtheworldnextdoor.com. There I've gathered a bunch of ideas of what you and your family can do to help refugees. You'll find them under the heading Tangibly Help New Arrivals. Look at it with your children, or look at it with your parents, or a group of friends. Talk together of what you could do to really get involved and help. Jolene said she didn't know what to do at the beginning. She just kind of got started and learned as she went along. But God really led her, and soon her whole family was excitedly involved. I'd be excited to have you order the training kit, since it will help you to know the specific steps to get out there and make a difference. The Reach the World Next Door training kit combines my video instructions with specific assignments that will help you to gain real experience in caring and sharing cross-culturally. It's all there available at the reachtheworldnextdoor.com website, or you can call ASAP. They put a donation there of about $49, and I've just talked with some people who are getting started in 2 small groups in their church to go through this program and begin reaching out to the refugees they're finding are moving in all around them. Another friend of mine in California just chose to donate that money, the $49, so that someone else can get the kit for free. So God is moving. People are waking up to the needs all around them, and they're choosing to get involved, and you can too. Why does helping refugees matter? Because it's important to Jesus. Here's what he said long ago to the Israelites. It applies to you and me today too, straight out of the Bible in Leviticus. And if a stranger dwells with you in your land, you shall not mistreat him. The stranger who dwells among you shall be to you as one born among you, and you shall love him as yourself, for you were strangers in the land of Egypt. I am the Lord your God. God is eager to bless those refugees. He's eager to bless our families. Let's join him this week to reach the world ASAP.